So in this sequence, all the different parts of the spine are included. Also the different chakras, of which we study the qualities and inner feelings when we form the asana. And one aspect I want to stress especially is the aesthetic element, which comes because we bring an idea into the position. So we express a wider universal idea with the body. And we can notice that the aesthetic form always has a positive influence also on the physical health. And most important is that we experience ourselves actually in the capacity to enhance, generally spoken, every situation in our lives. So when we get started, we start in the all-fours position with the cat's pose to at first notice all the different parts of the spine. So you start the first movement with your head. You bring your head down, then you curve your upper back, the middle part of your back, and you pull your pelvis inwards, that your tailbone is downwards directed. And then the second movement goes back from your tailbone all along your spine to your head. And make sure that you really notice all the parts of your back and that you include all the parts into the movement. So it's like the movement flows along the spine. Form each movement one more time. And when you raise your head, you always have a long neck. Then look for a short moment. The next exercise, when we form the downward facing dog, you can either stay in the position, maybe mobilize a little bit your legs, or you can work a little bit dynamically and bring the leg up, and then you can come into the plank and pull your knee inwards, and we repeat this a couple of times. So here we work a lot on the stability for the lower back and the lower abdomen. Come into the downward facing dog and then choose. Bring your right leg up at first and then come into the plank so your shoulders are above your wrists and you are pulling your knee inwards, close to your chest, and 4 more times into the downward facing dog with the leg. And make sure you continue to breathe. So in the downward facing dog we tend to be a little bit narrow, but make sure you stay in a good overview still. The leg glides up, and here you hold and you pull your knee inwards 2 more times. And notice where in the movement you can relax a little bit. There are moments where you can still relax. So now you can rest for a moment, bring your knees down, sit back on your heels, and the left side. Come back into the downward facing dog. Bring your left leg up, and then pull your knee close to your chest. And straighten the leg, when the leg glides up. Your head is in line with your spine. And continue to breathe 2 more times. Really straighten the leg and then pull the knee inwards. And the last time. And again, notice where you can relax a little bit. The last time, then you can bring your knees on the ground. Just for a short moment, sit back on your heels and then come back into the downward facing dog. This time, walk with your hands to your feet. and start to roll up. And come to the front side of your mat. We form the sun salutations to prepare the asanas we later form. Bring your feet and your legs together and make sure you have the stability in your lower back. We've prepared that now already. Bring your palms together. And now, after a little bit this narrowness in the downward facing dog, we can notice here we have an opposite feeling. Here we reach out, we open into the space around. Form the position from your middle back, then coming to the forward bend. Bring your right leg backwards. Bring the weight on the front foot. And you can keep your arms next to the upper body at first, but already form from your middle back and form into the thoracic spine. And then you can always choose either you repeat the cat's pose here in between, or you go into the plank. From the plank, you want to bring your knees down, your chest and your forehead and your legs back. And the cobra, you really form out of the activity of your back. So the shoulders are not coming up. The hands just give a little bit support. And then the downward facing dog. The right foot in front. Bring the weight on the front foot. You can also take your arms up and feel here how the forming continues into your upper back. Back into the forward bend. You can always include the outwards gliding movement here. And then notice when you open, you grow into the space around. And then you relax. The left side, bring your palms together. Form from your middle back upwards. Come into the forward bend. The left leg backwards. The legs glide dynamically apart. And then you can open upwards. And again, you reach out. You can choose if you stay with the cat's pose or the plank, knees down, chest and forehead, and the legs back. Your hands are right under your collarbones when you form the cobra. And you pull the rib cage forwards, and then you move backwards in the direction of your heels in the downward facing dog, and the left foot in front. Bring the weight on the front foot and stay with a free breath for now. Really focus on the forming. Back into the forward bend, the outwards gliding movement, and come up. Lift the rib cage and relax. We form an exercise in between. Look for one time. It's called the path of the sun. Here we focus a lot on the thoracic spine. So at first when we get started, we bring the palms together and the back is already straight. And now notice the form I draw with my hands into the space around. It's a wide circular curve. That's why it's called the path of the sun. So here it's like the rising sun. I have the highest point above the head. And then I can see how far I can move the hands further backwards, and the movement leads into the upper back, which is raised. And make sure you don't feel it in your lower back. Your lower back is stable. So at first relax a moment in the forward bend. So here there's no active forming. We will form the movement 3 times. Then bring your palms together. And remember the form you've just seen. You want to draw this wide curve into the space around. And then you can start, and the spine naturally follows. There you don't need to worry if you form the wide curve. Stay stable in your lower back and relaxed in your shoulders, and notice how the movement leads up into the thoracic spine. The second time, at first no forming, and relax. Then bring your palms together, try to have straight back, and then again form and draw the form. Be aware of that, and at last notice how the movement really leads up into the thoracic spine, which is raised and gently stretched. And the last time, maybe with the repetition you will feel the center more. Here the senses are more inwards directed, and when we come up, it's also movement where the senses are more open and notice again where the movement enters into. And relax. So we go back to the sand prayer, and the next 2 rounds we want to focus especially on the forming of the thoracic spine. Bring your palms together, so feel how the forming from your middle back continues upwards. Come to the forward bend, the right leg backwards. For this, keep your upper back as relaxed as possible, and then the thoracic spine also grows longer. Come to the plank, knees down, chest and forward, and the legs back. In the cobra, bring your shoulder blades a bit together. That will help you to feel also here the forming into the thoracic spine. And the forehead is relaxed and in a good overview. The downward facing dog, here just make sure you relax your upper back. Bring the right foot in front. And in the half moon position again, feel how the forming continues into your upper back. The forward bend, outward sliding movement, and still we want to reach out, and we use the middle back, and we relax. The left side, and still just let the breath flow. Concentrate on the forming for now. The thoracic spine is growing longer. Move forwards to the legs, the left leg backwards. And also be aware of the space around. Hold the plank, knees, chest and forward, and the legs back. And pull the ribcage forwards when you form the cobra. You can open your legs a little bit, but not too much. And be aware of your forehead here. The downward facing dog, the left foot in front, and roll into your upper back. Come back into the forward bend, and use your arms. Your arms will pull you out a bit, and relax. So in the next 2 rounds we include, if you want to, the exercise we did at the beginning with the dog and the plank and the leg. You can also just hold the dog. Bring your palms together. And here we want to create a nice wide movement. Then the forward bend, the right leg backwards. So here the movement really widens. Hold the plank. Go to the ground. Open into the cobra. Pull the rib cage forwards and hold the downward facing dog, and bring your right leg up if you want to include this exercise, and bring your knee inwards, and repeat 4 more times. And still breathe, and here you're very stable, and then the leg glides dynamically up. 1 last time. And then bring the right foot between the hands, and then we have this opposite feeling. We open again, we open into the space around. And then the forward bend, and we come up, And we widely open and we relax. And the same with the left side. Bring your palms together. So here we have the movement which widens the forward bend, the left leg backwards. Here again in the half moon position. The movement goes out. Then we hold the plank, the relaxation for a moment on the ground, and then the cobra. You can be aware of your lower ribs, which you pull forwards. And stay in the downward facing dog. Bring the left leg up. And then pull the knee inwards. And repeat 4 more times. And you can notice again where you can relax. You can notice how the leg is pulled in the direction of the pelvis. And you straighten it. And the next time, bring your foot between the hands and now notice the different feeling when you reach out. Come to the forward bend. So here we really seek the relation with the space around. Forward from your middle back for that. And relax. Okay. So you can relax for a short moment, let the breath flow. And you always want to have the idea that really the body opens for the incoming breath. You can relax for a moment in the forward bend. And here just let the gravity pull the upper body down. And roll up again. Now open your legs. It can be an even-sided triangle. Your toes forward directed. In the asanas we form now, it can also be a little bit less. We concentrate on the feeling for the thoracic spine. So at first bring your arms to the sides, it's the height of your shoulders. So turn your palms upwards and your thumbs are backwards directed here. And then bring the tips of your fingers to your collarbones. You want to open this part a little bit. And the breath flows freely. Then bring your arms up, and here the thoracic spine is growing longer. Here you don't need to go into a backward bend. It's just that the spine glides up. You can also look up. And then open your arms again. So you raise just a little bit your chest bone, and then the tips of your fingers in the area of your collarbones. And then bring your arms up. And here naturally the spine grows longer. Then you can bring your arms to the sides, and now come to a forward bend. You can come with me right away, but make sure you don't bend your back. Still have your arms open to the sides, that the shoulder blades come a little bit together, and always lift your rib cage, that you still feel a little bit of gentle dynamic in your upper back. You can bring your hands to the ground, or you can bring your hands on your legs. That depends on the movability of your lower back. And then bring your arms forwards and let the upper body glide far forwards. And when you come up, make sure your lower back is stable. And then form a little bit of a backward bend. And notice again the forming into the thoracic spine. And then repeat the forward bend. The upper body glides out. still be well aware of your upper back. And then a little bit of a backward bend. And relax and close your legs. Now we form the tree pose. Here we also have the heart chakra as the center, and it's the center where we have a natural feeling for self. When you are in the tree pose, you are balancing on one leg. Start with the right foot and bring the left foot either next to your ankle if you're a little bit shaky today, or next to your knee or next to your thigh. Your head is also upright. Your eyes are aware of the surroundings. At first open your arms. So here we also describe more the state where the senses are a little bit wandering around. And when we bring the palms together in front of the heart center, we describe more this state of concentration. And we're feeling for a middle, we have an inwardness and at the same time an awareness for the surroundings. And we change the sides. So we notice that we need to find the balance anew every moment. So we coordinate what comes from the outside with our inner feelings and needs, and this feeling for self is actually what develops out of this constant process. We can be aware of that. So that's what we express in the position, and we experience how we find the balance anew every moment. So now bring your palms together. So there's constantly an activity needed. And we need the awareness for the surroundings to find the balance. And we experience, as a result, really the center. So there's also a calmness while we are active here. And we relax. Okay. The next asana is the lifted scales. We start together with a little bit of a preparation. Bring your right foot in front. We also include here the upper back. Bring your arms next to the upper body. Bring your weight on the right foot. And at first, when you go into the horizontal, make sure you're bringing the left leg also up. That gives you the stability. You want to straighten the left leg and the upper body at first just in a straight line with the leg and as relaxed as possible. And we guide the movement back up. And we change. So the palms facing backwards, bring your weight on the left foot. Come into the horizontal and bring the activity now into the right leg. The leg you're standing on is always bent a little bit. And make sure you continue to breathe and come back up. So look for one time. You have two options. We will form each side twice so you can try both variations. So the first variation would be here, growing out of the thoracic spine, forwards and upwards with the arms next to the upper body. And the second variation is with the arms forward directed, and we also grow forwards and upwards. Against the gravity, that's the difficult thing. Start with the right side. Maybe the first time bring your arms next to the upper body. Bring the weight on the right foot. At first make sure you're bringing the activity into the left leg. And then beware your neck. Your neck shouldn't be fixated. Grow out of the part between the shoulder blades a bit forwards and upwards. And stay grow into the leg. And come back up. The left side. You can gently pull your arms backwards and upwards. That helps you. And stay light and grow upwards. And grow into the leg and come back up. So, now with the arms, if you feel too fixated in the shoulders, you can either open your hands or you can also bring your arms next to the upper body again. But it's actually for the forming quite nice with the arms. And you want to notice that against the gravity, you grow forwards and upwards. And you stay grow into the leg and grow again forwards and upwards and come back up. And we change. So no matter how much the body shakes, you want to keep the lightness and the cheerfulness. And the left side. And grow forwards and upwards. And again, and come back up. So for now we go down on the ground, we will stand up later again. For a moment you can rest on your back. Maybe you want to pull your knees for a moment close to your chest. You can also stay in shavasana and straighten your legs. And still you want to experience that the body really opens for the incoming breath. And then start to bring your feet on the mat, your heels under your knees. We start with the shoulder bridge and then we develop this asana a little bit further. So notice how you coordinate the movement when you go into the position. So you want to push your feet into the ground to bring the pelvis up. And then you want to include also the forming from the middle back a little bit. Your arms at first can be stretched out a little bit. And then come back down, vertebra by vertebra. In the next variation, bring your arms up and your palms together. We work a little bit dynamically. Every time when you go into the position, you open your arms into a diagonal, both palms facing upwards. And then you come back down, vertebra by vertebra, and then you open into the other diagonal. And what you experience here is that the sides of the body open, and naturally you will be a bit more aware of the forming from the middle back. And still you work with your legs to come into the position, and stay with the natural breathing. From each side one more time. And the last time, come back down. Maybe for a moment bring your knees close to your chest again. And then sit up for a moment and look. I'll show you two variations, how you can go a little bit further. So either you repeat the shoulder bridge and you focus again on the forming out of the middle back, or chakrasana, the wheel pose. You can here bring your feet even closer to the pelvis. I even stand a little bit on tiptoe. You don't have to do that. For me it helps. The hands are under the shoulders. And here you also need your legs, and it's like you're pulled up here from the point of here, the middle back, the upper abdomen. And when I go into the position, notice how the movement is coordinated. I bring first the pelvis a little bit in the direction of the feet, and then the body winds up. And in the position, the spine can be very nicely formed into both directions, into the direction of the thoracic spine and in the direction of the lower back. So get prepared, choose one of the two positions. Either the shoulder bridge with a nice wide forming, or if you want to form the wheel pose, remember the movement you've just seen, and before you go into the position, hold the idea and actually for a moment totally forget about the weight of the body. And then when you're ready, go into the position. And to form well into the upper back, you need to move a little bit in the direction of your hands. When you're already practicing yoga for a longer time, you can also try to bring the feet and the hands a little bit closer together to even form the thoracic spine a bit more. And then you can come back down, bring your knees close to your chest again, and you can bring your feet on the mat and straighten your legs. And we form one more asana where we include the extension from the middle back. So when you're lying on the back, bring your right leg up, hold the back side of your leg, or maybe even hold your foot. And you want to extend in the direction of your legs. You can bring your left arm next to your head, and you also want to feel the extension in the direction of your head and your arm. Try to straighten the legs. Sometimes a little bit of a compromise is needed. And we change. Roll into both legs, so that the leg which is lying on the ground stays in contact with the ground. And notice the extension into all the different directions. And bring the leg back down. So either stay with this position if the position is still new to you. You can also try a different variation. Anatasana, the infinite triangle where you're lying on the side. So here you want to create a nice straight line. Your palm facing upwards. So the leg which is lying on the ground is also straight. And then when you bring the upper leg up, it might be a bit shaky. The stability also here comes through the activity of the legs, because you straighten both legs. You can be stable. All the upper parts stay relaxed. And like in all the triangles, we also have the center in the middle back, with the upper abdomen as the middle. So notice the form you create here. And we change the sides. a nice straight line. And at first, usually it helps to bring the knee closer to the upper body, and then you straighten the leg. You can support the leg at any other part. And notice the form you create. So it's really a position where we want to experience that the position constantly widens. So we want to grow a little bit into every direction. Upwards, into the upper leg, but also into the leg which is lying on the ground, and also into the arm which is lying on the ground. And then bring the leg back down. And we sit up. Now, you might need a pillow. Now we go into a different quality. You need to sit either in the half lotus. If you can form the position that your knees are really close to the ground, you can also sit on the heels. Or if both doesn't work for your knees, you can straighten the legs, which is a little bit different, but it will work. And briefly look here. We want to put the upper body down out of the sitting position. The butt might come up a little bit, that's okay. And here we have the quality of the Vishuddha chakra, which has to do with the letting go and the fresh start. So now you can bring your arms up. And the letting go has to do with the letting go of the tensions in the body. We never give up the consciousness, we just give up the tensions in the body. It's like for a moment the body is not so important, but we are very aware and in a very sensitive perception. You can be aware of your breath, how the breath enters deep down into the body. You can also bring your head all the way down if you're very close to the ground. I don't, because I speak. Maybe there are parts where you can even relax a little bit more. And then you can come up. Notice the uprightness of the spine in you. And then relax. You can put the pillow away if you had one. And we remain seated, and we form the sitting twist. Sit on the left side and bring the right foot across. You can already be in this position. It's a position which is good to hold a little bit, to prepare the legs, and then I demonstrate two different variations. So here we use a little bit the activity of the legs to have a good uprightness in the lower back. So we have a gentle contraction in the lower back. Then we can be upright also with the head. The forehead is relaxed and a good overview. And then look for a moment. So one variation would be bringing the arm close around the knee. The tips of the back hand are touching the ground, and we look across the shoulder. We look into the thumb. And we express in the sitting twist really this forming process from an idea into really a form. So that's why it's also interesting to form a little bit more that I show. So you bring your hand back, and then the opposite arm of the knee, which is in front, look at first when we will form together. You lift the rib cage and you form a wide movement with your hand. You try to reach the front hand, and then usually this happens. You need to stay upright. That the head is also in a good overview. Otherwise you can stay with this variation, just to give you an idea. So now we start together. At first bring both of your arms up, and then you can start with the basic variation and bring the left arm around the right knee. Look across the shoulder and notice how the head really stays upright in this position of overview. Your forehead is relaxed. And if you want to form a bit more, bring your left arm up, lift the ribcage for a wide movement with the arm, stay upright, and again look across the shoulder, look into the far. And your shoulders stay relaxed. For a moment you can just observe your breath while you stay calm in the position. And then twist back, bring your arms down, and we change the sides. So now we also take a little bit of time in the sitting position to be aware of how the legs help to find into an uprightness. You never want to feel a fixation in the legs. It's almost like a flowing dynamic along the legs, into the sacrum, and then the spine is really in the vertical. And then bring your arms up. Make sure your head is upright right from the beginning, so you form the movement upwards, downwards. The left hand gently touches the ground. You look across the shoulder into the far. And maybe if you want to form more, bring your right arm up, lift the rib cage, and you need to push a little bit the knee to the side to reach the foot. And we create a very metrical form. Notice and remember this idea of the aesthetic element in the asana. Notice how the head stays upright. The forehead is relaxed. And then twist back. Bring your arms down. And we go back into the standing position. So you can bring your toes on the mat. Support a little bit with your hands. Straighten the legs. And come into Uttanasana, the wide forward stretch. So pull a little bit your thighs in the direction of your pelvis. Be straight in your back and let the upper body glide out. So here it's also the sacrum, out of the contracted inwards directed movement. Here the upper body really glides out. And then come up. If you feel a little bit dizzy, you'll be okay in a second. Concentrate on the forming of the half moon position and you will be fine. Form a little bit of a backward bend and relax. So we form two more asanas standing. At first we work a lot with the lowest part of the spine, the root chakra. The upper body stays upright and relaxed. In a dynamic way, bring your knees up. Just as a preparation. And you want to think the movement coming out of the lowest part of the spine. The upper body stays relaxed. So out of the centering towards the lowest part of the spine, the knees come up. Each side one more time. And then we start with the right foot. This time, still you're upright and relaxed. Bring the knee up and hold. Bring your arms up into an open V. Relax your shoulders and bring the knee high up again. the idea the whole body is drawn towards the lowest part of the spine. From here, the uprightness comes. We change the sides. Here also, the senses are quite open. Relax the shoulders and bring the knee high up. And the strength really comes from below. And relax. Each side one more time. Bring the left knee high up. Bring your arms up. And be aware of the anchoring point in the lowest part of the spine. Bring the knee up again and relax. So the body recedes a little bit towards this point in the lowest part of the spine. And then the uprightness comes. One last impulse into the knee and relax. So the last position is a more advanced position, but we start with some basic steps. It's the dancer's pose. So here it's also from the lowest part of the spine, the leg comes up. Look for one time, but here the leg goes backwards and upwards. And the leg really glides up. If that works well later, you can also work on forming into the upper body. But we really need to start with the legs. So we start with the right side. So at first, you hold your ankle from the outside. We will form each side twice. So you need to go a little bit forward with the upper body. At first, your arm, which is free, can just hang down and work on pushing the leg up. And it's the same principle. It's the lowest part of the spine. From here, the leg glides up. And we change the side. So you let the breath flow. You can open a little bit the hip, but not too much. Otherwise, the forming of the upper body will be difficult. So, you don't pull with your hand. You want to push the leg up, and the leg glides up. So, if you already know the position and want to include a little bit the forming into the upper body, you can do that now. But first concentrate on the leg, and if the leg comes up well, you can take your arm up and form then also a bit from your middle back upwards, and you still also form into the leg and the left side again. So we need a lot of concentration here, a lot of guidance from the consciousness, especially to hold the balance. So the foot goes up, the leg glides up, you can bring your arm up, and you grow into both directions. And you can come back, maybe you want to relax for a moment in the forward bend. And then you can start to roll up. And now, for the ending, for the concentration at the end, either come into a sitting position again, or maybe you want to lie on your back. And in both positions, we want to concentrate for a moment on the different parts of the body and also the spine. So at first, when you're in the position, be aware of your feet and your legs. pelvis. And then be aware of your spine. Notice the tailbone and the sacrum. The sacrum where we have always the stability and this collective movement from where then the movement also flows out again. Now notice the middle part of your spine, where we always express this nice extension, this movement into the space around. Where we also have the extension but also a stability at the same time. Beware of the thoracic spine. It's the area where in the tree pose we have this feeling for a natural sense of self, feeling of an inwardness, and also an awareness for the surroundings. Also a feeling of a calmness. Beware of your collarbones. Very, very sensitive part. Beware of your forehead. Forehead is relaxed as possible. Beware of the tip of your head for a moment. If you want to, you can stay in the position a little bit longer, but try to make sure that you're not sinking too much into the body or that you're not dreaming. Hold this concentration and overview we've built up. And I say for now, goodbye.